He accidentally discovered a small path with a sign beside the fence reading private property, strictly no trespassing, but his car broke down on the road, leaving him no choice but to climb over the barbed wire and go in to seek help. The town sat on cliffs along the coast, and the towering lighthouse was especially eye-catching. By the time he arrived, night had already fallen, and the surroundings were so quiet it was frightening. Ross shouted loudly, then knocked on the door of a grocery store. A blinding light suddenly switched on, and an old man stared at him in disbelief. Outsiders were not welcome here. Ross apologized for disturbing them without permission and said he wanted to borrow a phone to call a tow truck. Cooper said there were no phones here because the villagers had no use for such things. He then reluctantly let Ross come inside to warm up. This place was far from the coastal highway and there were no cars in the town, so Ross could only make plans the next day. At that moment, a little boy named Teddy pushed the door open and walked in, suddenly noticing the unfamiliar man beside him. Ross introduced himself as a doctor. Teddy asked in confusion what a doctor was. Ross thought he was joking, but the boy's completely puzzled expression didn't seem fake. Cooper stepped forward and interrupted their conversation. Teddy's sister had a slight fever, but their mother said it was nothing serious. The people in the town were all very afraid of getting sick, and their medicine supplies were already running low. Ross curiously picked up a bottle, but Cooper coldly reminded him to sit aside. Ross then asked if there was a hotel. Teddy said his family had a spare room. Cooper had originally planned to keep Ross at the grocery store, but now he could only let him stay there for one night.
Okay, may the beacon pass you by.
You as well.
Ross was confused about what that meant. Cooper explained that this was the town's way of saying good night. Carrying his luggage, Ross knocked on the door of Teddy's house. Anna sized him up warily. No one wanted a stranger around their children. This time, thanks to Cooper showing leniency, he might be able to take a look at Katie's illness. After all, he was a professional doctor. Anna flatly refused. Her daughter would get better soon. Hearing this, Ross said no more. At this moment, the sky turned an eerie purple, and the light from the lighthouse began to move slowly, illuminating the room. Anna's hands went weak with fear, and she hurriedly looked out the window. Teddy quickly reminded her that the light was on. All the villagers were watching to see where the lighthouse was pointing, and everyone looked extremely tense. The beam returned to Anna's house, like an eye locking tightly onto its target. The villagers watched this scene expressionlessly, with relief and indifference in their eyes. When Anna saw the light shining onto her daughter's face, she completely lost control and collapsed emotionally, clutching her son and wailing loudly. While the lighthouse continued to shine, Ross was suddenly awakened by Teddy's voice. Teddy walked in with a sorrowful look on his face. Katie's illness, which hadn't been serious to begin with, had become much worse because of the light. Ross hurriedly comforted him, saying that getting sick was very normal.
You said you help sick people get better. Can you help Katie, please?
He immediately asked to help Katie. Ross quickly took out his medical bag to examine her. It appeared to be only a mild respiratory infection, and she would recover soon after taking the medicine. After hearing this, Teddy leaned out to look down the hallway. They had better leave before Anna found out. Ross asked why. If Katie was sick, that was a family matter. Now it was as if they had betrayed her. Ross couldn't understand what he meant at all. Back in the room, Teddy pointed toward the thing outside the window. Ross pulled aside the curtain and saw all the villagers carrying lamps and slowly approaching. They were waiting for the lighthouse to take someone away. But why did the lighthouse want Katie to die? There was no pattern to it at all. The boy said that whichever house the light shone on, someone inside would soon die. If no one was sick, then an accident would happen. Now they had already made it angry. Ross caught the key point in his words.
Wait a minute. It takes care of you. You mean somebody inside of it?
Seth, he protects us. Watches over us from up there.
Ross immediately said he was going to talk to them. How could they decide a person's life like this? Even though Teddy repeatedly tried to stop him, Ross still wanted to find out the truth. At that moment, the voices of Anna and Cooper came from outside the door. Teddy finally decided to take Ross to the lighthouse. Anna went in and touched her daughter's forehead, discovering that her temperature had actually dropped. Cooper showed a shocked expression. Katie undoubtedly revealed that her brother Teddy had brought back a good person. Cooper rushed into another room and found that Ross had already climbed out the window and left. He immediately chased after him outside. Teddy led Ross to the lighthouse, but no matter how they struck it, there was no effect. Ross looked up but saw nothing. Only after great effort did he finally understand from Teddy that Seth had died long ago and had now become a spirit living inside the lighthouse, protecting and guiding the town from there. At that moment, the others arrived, and Anna directly dragged Teddy away. Cooper explained in more detail. Seth was the guardian of the lighthouse and the father of everyone. The town had been established 200 years ago. He taught people how to survive by relying on the land. The lighthouse attracted many ships, and that difficult period was one of survival of the fittest. More and more villagers surrounded Ross. Seth had sworn that he would use his spirit to protect the town. Cooper's job was to keep it running normally. Ross questioned whether Cooper was controlling the lighthouse. Cooper said he only inspected it once a year. Ross didn't believe it. That light was lit by Seth, but machines could malfunction. The light could very well be turning on at random. It couldn't possibly all be Seth's arrangement. If the intended victim didn't die, then an accident would occur. How could that be explained? Cooper angrily rebuked him, saying he knew nothing. The town was isolated from the outside world, and everything was possible only because of the lighthouse's power. Bloodlines had to remain pure as well. No matter what it demanded, they were willing to give it. After hearing this, Ross felt the entire town had gone mad. The harm of inbreeding was enormous, but no one listened. The villagers gradually closed in on him. Cooper spoke of the consequences of defying its will. Once, a chosen soul had survived, plunging the town into extreme hardship. Only after their ancestors swore that the lighthouse would never be refused again did things return to normal. No one could escape its will anymore.
But Katie did! She lived!
Light has decreed a death, and what is decreed must come to pass.
The villagers stepped closer and closer. Ross had nowhere left to run, because when the light shone on Anna's house, Ross happened to be inside. Since Ross had prevented the lighthouse from taking its chosen one, he had to atone for it. No one could escape the lighthouse anymore. The villagers completely surrounded him, and chilling screams rang out one after another. Sometimes the lighthouse does not guide people home, but instead leads into the eerie world of the Twilight Zone.